Okay, so I have opened up Photopea, PHOTOPEA.com, and then because I had my image already chosen, I either opened it up and copied it, and I could have done that, just opened the file and copied it. But when I made a new file in Photopea, once I made a new file, I went to create, and then I dropped this into the new window. And if you didn't see how to do that, go back to the first tutorial and it will show you how to do it there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this picture. And if we look, there's a couple of things, again, just to remind you. So the idea is that you choose a photo, mostly the face and the head. It can be pretty close up. Maybe some of the shoulders, we don't want to have a picture that's of a person, the whole person. I'd like it to be mostly about the head and the face and less about the, below the shoulders part of the person. No kids, no babies. It can be you, a friend, a family member, or somebody that you find interesting. And again, just somebody who's not, depressing to think about for what they've done with their lives and thought by their hate or whatever. That's kind of pointless. There are too many good people in the world. So I've got this. I want to do a couple of things. First of all, if you look over here, this is important. You should see layers. If it's selected like that for some reason, click on layers. And you'll see right now I have two things. I have the original document, and then it made a thing called a layer, which is the picture. It's sort of like if you had a piece of paper and then before you glued it down, you had the photo laying on the paper. That's what the layer is. I'm going to click on that. Now, the change I make is to the guy, not to the background. So we want it selected like that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make him a little simpler, keep the look of him, but make it a little bit simpler. So to do that, I'm going to go up here to Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to go down to Posterize. And in Posterize, what I did is it's going to simplify him. And you'll see a slider bar that says levels and also a number. I can take the slider bar, and the farther I go to the right, the more detail there is of the guy. I can also do it here. I can highlight the number and do like a 7, and it's going to change it to that. So either way, the slider bar is probably the simplest way to do it. If we go all the way, it's just basically the photograph. If we go over here, there's hardly anything to work with. So probably, get it to where there's some detail in there. I've got a little bit of detail in that, and I'm going to hit OK. Now I've got this guy right here. What you're going to do once you have the photo is go in and just kind of draw over it so that you can see the shapes. You don't have to be perfect. You're going to just draw kind of like geometrically. So follow angle, 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 something like that. If you look at them, that's how most of them are. They're not perfect, but there's an angle, an angle, an angle. So it's more geometric, but based on kind of the natural curves. I've got this guy right now. So I did this by going to Image, Adjustments, and Posterize. I'm going to still be in this part of the menu. I'm going to go to Image, also go to Adjustments, and this time what I'm going to do is go to Hue Saturation. And in Hue Saturation, I'm going to come up with this little panel. And there's a few things in here which are cool. Yours is probably going to come up selected for master, but you notice there's a little arrow here. The arrow gives you different channels of color. All of the colors, all these different channels of color, a red channel and a yellow channel and a green channel. What that means is it'll find only the reds and only the yellows and only the greens. When you put them all together, you have the illusion of full color, which is the master. So what I'm going to do first of all is just go to red, and hue, I'm going to just slide it. And I can change the color of the guy. Remember, what we're trying to do is get a believable guy, but using different colors. Now this is called saturation, which is the intensity of the color. Hue is simply the name of the color. The hue for violet is violet. The hue for red is red. So this is choose your color. And then I'm going to make it more brilliant or less. And I can do lightness and contrast too if I want. The benefit of lightness might be that it'll give me a little more details showing up in the dark area or not, depending upon what I want to do. That might be kind of cool there. Red, go back up here, click, and go yellow. Let's see if we can pull some color out there. Yeah, there's a little color coming out. So I'm going to start pulling this color out. Go back to, you can click on the name or the arrow, go to green, and let's see. I'm getting some different colors in here. Trying to kind of pull it out. Cyan is blue. There's not a lot of blue in his face, apparently. You can see it kind of going along there. Cyan is kind of like a Dodger blue, if you will. And then let's see here. There's probably not going to be much magenta in here. I'm going to go back to the master file, the master level, and see what it'll do there. Yeah, so I can start getting some cool colors just with the whole thing too. So you have several different channels you can come in and add some color to the guy. It's supposed to be believable, so if you get it too far, you'll start losing it, and it won't really read like a portrait. It'll read like something else. So you kind of have to watch that. I'm not going to worry about this right now, this area in the back, because that is going to be gone. I'm going to take that out on the painting. But to begin with, this might be okay. So what we're trying to do is change the colors, and then we're going to come in and change the geometry of things. You don't have to worry about doing all the little dots and stuff. That's not necessary, but you might go boom, 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 boom. Just kind of basically follow those shapes with a pencil when you print this thing out. And then I'll show you how to transfer that down onto your canvas board. The other thing too that you can do with these WPAP paintings is, if you look at a lot of them, they're cropped. So you might have something where it's kind of like that, or it could be kind of really close up on the guy, as long as it's kind of cool. Or it could be the full thing. So those are options. But to begin with, what you want to remember is, once you have it set up, the first thing is to go to Image, Adjustments, Posterize. And once you have that done, and remember that you're going to start by clicking on this guy, this level, this layer. If it's selected like that, nothing's going to happen. So click over here first, then go to Image, Adjustments, Posterize, click, and then do the changes to kind of break up his face into sections, and then go to Image, Adjustments, Hue, Saturation. And when you get into Hue, Saturation, you're going to get this. Remember, you have these channels here you can edit. You don't have to use them all, but they're available to you. And then the saturation is the brightness of the color, and the hue is the color itself, and then there's lightness and darkness. Okay, that's what you got for today.